What's up guys, it is THETBALL and I am back with another video. So today, we're going to be going over 5 NBA players who got better in their 30s. So, before I start, if you want to see more daily NBA content just like this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe as I really do appreciate all of the support. So, most NBA players usually play their best basketball in their mid to late 20s, and that's considered a player's prime. Most players start to decline once they hit the dreaded 30, and they face especially steep declines after 32. However, there have been some exceptions over time, as some players have found a way to stave off Father Time. Actually, some have even improved in their 30s, aging like fine wine. So, let's go over 5 players who have somehow defied the odds and improved as they aged. So first up, we're going to start with the man who had 2 girlfriends at one time, and that's Lou Williams. Both off and on the court, Lou Williams is a very interesting case. He came into the league very raw at only 19 years old, and it took some time for him to find his footing in the league. He was improving basically every year up to his season with the Hawks, and during the 2012-13 season, he tore his ACL. It took some time for him to get back, but it definitely looks like he made a full recovery. Lou put up some big seasons with the Raptors, Lakers, Rockets, and Clippers since then, including winning the 6th Man of the Year award in 2015 and 2018 as well. But Williams has actually really picked it up as of late in his age 31 and 32 seasons, as he's averaged over 22 points and 5 assists with the Clippers last year, almost leading the Clippers into the playoffs. But while he couldn't get the job done last season, it does look like he'll carry the underdog Clippers to the playoffs this year with his averages of 20.2 points, 5.4 assists, 3 rebounds, and 0.8 steals in only 26.6 minutes per game. He'll likely win the 6th Man of the Year award again this season, and deservingly so, but of course, shout out to D Rose and Spencer Dinwiddie. His improvement from once being simply a volume and relatively inefficient shooter earlier in his career, to a dynamic 20-point per game scorer and playmaker in his 30s, has been an incredible turnaround, and we'll see if he can keep up his stellar play this season into the playoffs. So next up, I have JJ Redick. JJ Redick was once considered a bust by many in his first 4 seasons with the Orlando Magic, averaging under 10 points per game each year. However, as he got more experience, he slowly improved with time. He increased his scoring averages by becoming one of the deadliest shooters in the league, using his quick release and ability to hit running and off-balance shots. He has also mastered using screens and simply tiring his opponents by literally running around the court at times until he loses his defender. So currently in his age 34 season, Redick is averaging a career-high 17.6 points per game, and he has been one of the key pieces for the championship contending Sixers. And this is actually coming off a season when he averaged 17.1 points per game, which was also then a career high at 33 years old, and let's just see if he can somehow pull it off again next season when he'll be 35 years old. Kyle Lowry is the classic case of a point guard who struggles early on in his career and eventually hits his prime late. Point guard is arguably the hardest position to master in the NBA, as it takes time for players to slow down their game and play at a controlled pace. Lowry struggled early on in his career with cited maturity issues and shooting, but he has solved both of these issues during his time in Toronto, where he has made 5 straight All-Star appearances. Lowry has blossomed as a leader for the now 2nd-seeded Raptors, and he isn't that same player who once gave coaches headaches. In addition, Lowry has also improved his 3-point shooting in the later stages of his career, shooting 37.9% from 3 in 7 seasons in Toronto. Lowry is now 2nd in the league in assists this season at 32 years old, and it still looks like he has a lot of solid years left before he sees any sort of major decline. Now let's take a look at some retired players with Manu Ginobili. Ginobili is one of the most underrated NBA players of all time, as his stats don't reflect the impact he had when he was on the floor. Ginobili became the model 6th man for the Spurs, and we all know that if he got more minutes and a bigger role, he could have easily been a 25-point per game scorer. But that's besides the point, as what's really interesting about Ginobili is that he continued to maintain such a high level of play well into his 30s. His game peaked around his early 30s, but even in his mid-30s and at 40 years old, he was still a very good player. His game never really relied on athleticism, as his craftiness was what really made him such an effective player on offense. His patented Euro step helped him get good looks in the paint, and being a solid 3-point shooter also allowed him to help spread the floor. Not to mention, he was an excellent passer with great vision, and he was a tremendous secondary playmaker next to Tony Parker. Ginobili had a terrific NBA career that allowed him to play at a very high level for a long time, and personally, he'll always be one of my favorite players of all time. And finally, we have Steve Nash. Nash is like Lowry in the sense that he was a point guard who peaked in his 30s, as he dominated games with his craftiness, passing ability, and shooting. Nash never really relied on athleticism throughout his career, even early on. So I think the decline in athleticism for Nash in his 30s was, I guess, relatively insignificant, and increased experience and slowed down game outweighed any negative effects from getting older. Nash won his MVP awards at 30 and 31 years old, and he was an all-star at ages 27, 28, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, and 37 years old. I mean, being selected an all-star at 37 years old is almost unheard of. But I think it goes to show just how effective Nash was even at his so-called advanced age, at least in terms of basketball. Unfortunately, he started to break down with the Lakers at the end of his career due to injuries. But even when he did play for LA, he was still an amazing facilitator on offense, and he was still generally a positive when he was on the floor. Overall, you could see the trend here is that a lot of players who get better in their 30s are guards who really don't rely on athleticism. Guards, specifically point guards, tend to sometimes peak later in their careers due to increased experience and that the game somewhat slows down for them. We saw this with Lowry and Nash, and there are definitely other examples as well. So if you guys want to see other players who peaked in their 30s, let me know down in the comments below and I'll definitely try to do a part 2. So that's a wrap. Thank you all for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video and want to see more daily NBA content just like this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and also be sure to turn on post notifications so you can stay updated on when a new video will be coming out. Also follow me on Instagram and hit me up if you want to talk about basketball, business, or have any video ideas you want me to do. Let me know as I do try to get back to all you guys there. Also be sure to subscribe to my second channel. A link to that will be down in the description below, and also my pinned comment, as subscribing there will definitely help me out if anything happens to this channel due to copyright issues. So definitely subscribe there, and I would really appreciate it. With all that being said, once again, thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon for the next video. Peace.